live from the Good Beans Cafe in Flint, Michigan. It's the Creative Alliance's Collab Night open mic with your host, Mark Funnyman Taylor. Yay!
Thank you, and welcome to another installment of this collaboration night. Yes, I am your host, the Funny Man. I'm glad that y'all are here thus far. And anyway, before I get started, I have a little announcement to make. On August the 17th at 7 o'clock, that's on a Saturday, I am doing a comedy show over at the Pineview Estates Clubhouse. And it's just going to be myself, and hopefully if I can find other people, then that would be awesome, to help me out a bit. You know, if they do poetry or sing a song or whatever that they want to do, that would be awesome. It starts at 7 o'clock. There's going to be food, like snacks and drinks inside, and all we ask is for a donation. And so it's on the 17th, that's on a Saturday in August.
Okay.
Another thing is that I want to say a big thank you to Ken the sound man, because he's a cool guy.
Yay,
and he runs the sound up there. He doesn't get the props that he needs, so thank you for making us sound good. So before I get started, I have a joke for you guys.
Okay.
So in this piece, there's three people. There's a zoologist, an art enthusiast, and a regular person. So they walk into the doctor, and the doctor says, "Well, I've got some bad news to tell you." They say, "What's that?" He says, "Well, you only got a month to live. So with the month that you have left to live, what would you like to do with the time that you have left?" The zoologist turns around and says, "Well, I would like to go to Africa to see the Serengeti and check out the wildlife out there." The doctor says, "That's very cool. I hope that gets arranged." Goes to the art enthusiast and he says, "What would you like to do?" And he says, "Well, I like to go to Paris, France, to go to their art museum down there and check out all the art galleries and art facts that they have down there." He said, "That's pretty cool. I hope that gets arranged." Turns to the third guy and he says, "What would you like to do?" He says, "I like another opinion because I need another doctor." Anyway, I had a joke about steak and it was well done.
Oh.
Yeah, I like mine medium rare.
Your jokes or your steak?
Yeah. Oh, do you know how you can lose 2,000 calories? Just go to sleep while making brownies. Yeah, I kind of got a brownie point on that one.
Oh.
Yeah, that one just kicked the oven there. Oh, what I was gonna tell you is that every Wednesday, third Wednesday of each month, we'll be having open mic up here, and on the first Wednesday of each month, there is a meeting over at Churchill's that is like very awesome to go to, and get your opinions in here and there, and talk about art stuff and very creative things. And another thing, before I get ahead of myself, on Monday nights at 7 o'clock, right?
It's 7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock.
No, 6 o'clock.
Oh, at 6 o'clock, okay.
Comcast
On
Channel 17.
Comcast Channel 17, if I got ahead of myself, they will be showing some of our collaboration night and art walk. So keep your eyes peeled on that when you turn on Comcast on Monday nights.
It's the Flint Underground Show.
Flint Underground Show.
And the videos come from the Flint Underground YouTube channel.
What she said. Anyway, I just wanted to get those announcements in before it got too late. So, anyway, I'm going to get off the stage here, but before that, I want to know what our first guest is.
Gary Flynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Flint's very own historian, Mr. Gary Flinn.
Yay, Gary!
Thank you, Mark. I brought along some images of Flint landmarks that ceased to exist by the 1960s, and they're in the order of which I'll be reading about these lost places. These will be included in my forthcoming book, which should be coming out in 2021, called Lost Flint.
Yeah.
Mainly about things that are not here anymore.
Great, great.
So the first lost place, lost to progress, is the Flint City Hall on Saginaw and 3rd Streets. In 1907, Flint voters approved construction of a new 2-story city hall with a basement, constructed of reinforced concrete, constructed with cut stone and brick with a tile roof that was considered to be fireproof. It replaced Flint's original city hall. Located at the corner of Saginaw and 3rd Streets, it was completed in 1909. It served the city for almost 50 years. There was a fire at that city hall in 1938, but 11 fire rigs saved the building, which mostly suffered smoke and water damage. It was torn down after the Flint Municipal Center was completed in 1958. Today, the McCree Courts and Human Services Center occupies the site that was built in 1965 as the Montgomery Ward department store. Now for the next lost place, again lost to progress, the Carnegie Public Library. The Flint Public Library dates back to 1851, when the Ladies' Library Association was founded with Maria Smith Stockton, daughter of Flint founder Jacob Smith, as its first president. In 1884, it evolved into the Flint Public Library, operated by the Board of the Union School District of Flint, which was the forerunner of the Flint Board of Education. In 1904, it moved into the first building designed as a library at the northeast corner of Kersley and Clifford Streets, which was one of over 1,600 public libraries built that were funded by steel magnate Andrew Carnegie. But as Flint grew over the decades, the Carnegie Library became too small for the Flint Public Library's growing collection. With the development of the College and Cultural Center in the 1950s, the Flint Public Library's main location moved to a much larger facility in the then new Flint Cultural Center in 1958. The old Carnegie Library was mainly vacant for the next 2 years, but did serve in 1960 as the local Democratic Party headquarters until the old library building was dismantled around 1960. The 1961 Polk Directory indicated that this library's address at 301 East Kersley Street ceased to exist. Today that site is at the heart of the University of Michigan Flint's downtown campus. Now for the next place, lost to progress, the YMCA on Kersley Street. While the Young Men's Christian Association, better known as the YMCA, or casually referred to as the Y, was founded in London, England in 1844 and spread to the United States in the 1850s, the YMCA's local Flint activities date back to 1879, when some interested citizens began Y programs. In 1913, Charles Jewett Mott was elected the first YMCA of Flint board president, and on December 13th of that year, the 4-story building at the corner of Kersley and Clifford, now Wallenberg Streets, first opened. Mott served as the Y's president until 1933. The Kersley Street location served as the Y's location until January 21st, 1962, when the present downtown YMCA officially opened at 411 East 3rd Street, taking up the whole block, which includes Stevens and East 2nd Streets, as well as Chavez Drive, which is the southbound I-475 service drive. On October 24, 1965, the Flint City Commission ordered the contractor to demolish the former YMCA to make way for a surface parking lot. Today the site is part of the University of Michigan Flint parking ramp on Kersley Street between Wallenberg and Harrison Streets, thanks to the YMCA of Greater Flint. Next door to where the Y was is another place lost to progress, the post office / community service center. The year is 1905, which was the City of Flint's Golden Jubilee. On June 7th, a parade was held featuring Vice President Charles W. Fairbanks. That same day, a cornerstone was laid for a new federal building and post office, which was completed 2 years later at the southeast corner of Kersley and Harrison Streets. That post office was controversial at that time because many people considered it to be too small in relation to the mail volume at that time. That proved to be true indeed, for in 1931, that post office was moved to a much larger facility at 600 Church Street, which became the federal building, and United States District Court after the main post office moved to its present location off Robert T. Longway Boulevard around 1960. After the post office moved out, it stood vacant at times. It became the local headquarters for the Works Progress Administration, a Depression-era New Deal agency. After they left, the National Youth Administration moved in. It stood vacant again after they left. The Junior Chamber of Commerce used it briefly as a depot for sending clothing abroad. In 1944, Charles Stewart bought the White Elephant from the federal government for $17,500. It needed a lot of work. In 1948, the Worcester Flint, which was a World War II era relief organization, dissolved itself and donated the surplus funds for the repair and renovation of the old post office. Contractors charged just 55% of what construction would normally cost for renovating what became known as the Community Service Center, housing various agencies funded by the Community Chest, which was later known as the Red Feather Fund and is now known as the United Way. It was dedicated on September 28, 1948. But in 1966, the Community Service Center was torn down to make way for a parking ramp and a downtown branch of the Flint Public Library. Taken over by the University of Michigan Flint, it is still used as a parking ramp by the university, with the former library space now occupied by U of M Flint's Engineering Design Studio and Learning Space. Now, those pictures I passed around, when video was produced of tonight's Collab Nite, which will be on the Flint Underground channel, as well as on Comcast Channel 17 eventually, Jennie will also insert in the appropriate places those images I've been passing around. And that is my presentation for this month, and I thank you very much.
Hey Ed, are you ready to come up here and do your music thing? Right, Ed, come on up here. Speaking of music, did you hear about the guitarist and the violinist going on a date? There was no strings attached.
Yeah.
Yeah. I better beat it.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Ed, you all know that. Thanks for celebrating and encouraging original work. I really appreciate being somebody that does that kind of thing from time to time. So. I'm gonna do something different today. I'm gonna give you the lyric and then play for a little bit, and then give you another lyric and play for a little bit more. This one is about the Stone Street site, where they found the burial ground area, and I was trying to look into it, and things at the time got very strange, and I just felt that there was a ceremony and everything like that, and everything is been dealt with at this point, but I still feel like saying something to kind of bring peace to that situation. So it goes like, it's called Bless the Bones. Turn back the clocks till they all stop dead. No more false alarms ringing in the head. Prediction of remission of hate upon the blood. Turn back the clocks till they all stop dead. Bless the bones that are gathered here this day. Relevant to the revenant, all there is to say. False alarms and lucky charms do not run after. What I owe, what I own, fate will call me master. Bless the bones, for at your back the winds are blowing faster. appreciate you guys being patient with the setup and everything like that. It takes me a while to figure out what to do, and it's nice to be able to have this place to work my stuff out.
Yeah,
I got one more for you.
great.
My stuff takes a long time again.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Not trying to be,
Sue?
that guy. Oh, no, that guy. I've
No,
been
it's-
that guy before, so.
Kind of puts me in this zone, it's cool.
Good. Hope so. All right, so this one.
I do wish that that microphone stand wasn't right down your middle.
Oh,
But if that's a lot of trouble, then it's all right. It's just, I think you'll be happy with the video if we move it.
yep.
Give it up for Ed, please. Good job, my man.
Actually, that's a good place because the Good Beans logo is like right behind you, you know? Or if you just move your mic just a little bit farther back, just a hair. Like that way.
Oh, this way?
Yeah, right about there. Yep, that's
Right there?
perfect. Yeah, and then I got the
I can
Good
go-
Beans logo and you. Perfect.
There we go.
Sticker.
That'd be the, yeah. So. Oh, another thing is that you guys can paint. Isn't that awesome? You can paint.
Yay.
Then you don't have to die
Yay,
because you have
paint.
strokes. Oh, I had a joke about butter, but I can't spread it. Anyway, did you hear about the tree what the tree did after his bank closed? He started his own branch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called I Went on a Limb Bank.
On a limb.
Anyway, enough of my little joke antics. I'm gonna bring up to the stage the camera lady, a book writer, a good friend.
there.
Would you please welcome Miss Jennie Moench?
Yay, Jennie Moench.
I know I'm pronouncing.
Oh, that's good. That's what it looks like. I'm not real fussy. You know, I know there's people that are really choosy about the way their name's spelled. You know, it's to me the I-E and the Y, the same thing, whatever's easiest, you know, you know, or and that what you pronounced it is actually probably more correct. You know, you get whatever pronunciation or spelling that the guy gives you when you get off the boat. Okay, so anyway, that's true. So anyway, I wanted to mention before I forget that the Collab Nite is every third Wednesday here at Good Beans. And if you like this style of Flint style open stage, we do something very similar every first Friday at Buckham Alley Gallery. And that's cool too because then you get the artwork around you. And there's a lot of writers and poets there, but we also get music there too, and they like everything. You know, it's similar to this, but only in an art gallery. This we got the stage, so ours is kind of cool. Oh, and then every Wednesday is at the Golden Leaf, and that is Flint's oldest jazz club. There is also an open mic, but that's usually more musicians, and it starts at around 10. But you know, if you wanted to, you could get up there and play with the house band. You know, so that's really fun.
And I'll plug the Golden Leaf in my new book because of it's part of a lost neighborhood of
Yeah.
which
Yes.
there's still life over there thanks to the Golden Leaf.
Was it because of the expressway?
Yes, the
The expressway cut them off because
Right.
it looked like it used to go when it went straight through. It was right downtown.
Right, the expressway cut off the northern part, but even before then, the Flint Municipal Center also took a good chunk of the Floral Park subdivision.
Cool. Okay, well anyway, I write and I just finished a book, Near Future, and it is a collection of short science fiction stories that happen in the near future. And if you want to buy a copy, they're like $10 on Lulu, or you can get them on Amazon for 15, I think. But anyway, and then I also have some. And then also you can listen to the audio-video files of each story for free. If you just want to go to the Warrior Facebook page, I try to list all these links so you can and also link to buy the book too if you don't know how to type in lulu.com. But anyway, I so enjoyed writing that book that I've already started writing another one. And it's like the second episode of each story. And so I think I'm going to call it Near Future E2. And so the very first story, of course, in that book is called Transporter. And the Transporter is like the vehicle that the driverless autonomous cars become, electric cars. And if you, I'm just gonna start reading. And what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna skip over the bit that does the flashback of what happened in the first episode because it's kind of long. But anyway, so I'm just gonna read I'm gonna jump to the back then. Okay, anyway, so transporter, E2, the journey back is virtual. Janet was calming herself by watching a video of a raccoon and her kids as they were living in Janet's backyard. The cameras that she had installed were the latest model. They not only moved freely with a touch of a controller that she kept nearby, but they also came equipped with an infrared abilities that allowed her to see through the vegetation and locate mammals that were living just outside her window. With a little adjusting, she could see the baby raccoons clearly, and they were so cute. And their mother was so loving. It was something she could watch and meditate on for hours. It was a deviation from the trauma that she had recently endured. Losing her beloved transporter was depressing, but the experience of being kidnapped and nearly sold to professional traffickers was terrifying to her. Okay, and then I just go on about her ordeal when they stole her transporter. Okay.
What happened?
Well, if you read the first story, you would know. But anyway, or listen to it. Now here she was, still dealing with the internal trauma, having difficulty working or concentrating. The dark memories wouldn't leave her alone. She was being haunted from the inside of her skull. There was a flash coming from the screen behind, and there was a flash on the screen behind the one she was looking at. An alert that a business-related message had been received. Reluctantly, she clicked on the screen that she had been so captivated by to check the message. And it was from an old client of hers, very old. An elderly gentleman wanted to add a sunroom to his virtual reality rental. And again, if you read the first book, you know there's the VR part where they have people can rent houses virtually that might have been from their childhood or whatever, and then they make them look like they used to look. Anyway, Janet was an independent contractor for Oogle History. This meant that she was qualified by them to assist their clients who rented space on their site. She could help them create walls and interior space in their rented virtual homes, usually to make it look more like their childhood home. Now clients would often come to her with drawings that they had made themselves to direct her in creating their floor plans. The process wasn't all that difficult, and Oogle History offered step-by-step directions, but most people didn't want to learn the program, opting to hire someone for the one-time setup fee, interested in her secondary source of instead. This work kept her busy enough, but also gave her access to virtual reality users who might be interested in her secondary source of income. That was converting traditional video into VR format that allowed the user to insert themselves into the footage. By way of programs that were written as tools for software engineers like Janet, she could take a traditional video and make it interactive by the viewer, letting their avatars navigate within the video after she had converted it. It was a lucrative business that she owned herself, but kept secret from the Oogle people who might frown upon her soliciting some of their clients. This work could also be stressful for her. She tried not to know the backstory of the video that she was sent to her, but she suspected that much of it included images of people who were now deceased. Their loved ones wanted to be near them, sit with them, and relive those moments over and over. But this time it was official Oogle business, and she was happy to help Mr. Brown with his addition. The work did help her get out of her dark funk where her thoughts had been of late. After she had successfully finished the simple for her project, and Mr. Brown had thanked her for her prompt work, she stretched and stood up. She wandered to the window and noticed how bright the sun and sunny it was. She peered off into the distance where a field of berry bushes could be seen beyond the neighbor's house. It was a community park with well-groomed trails that meandered through a large wooded area along the river. She liked to go walking there often, and now the green trees beneath a brilliant blue sky were beckoning her to return. She reasoned that if it was just the kind of day for a walk and that she already completed a work-related task, so she threw a few items into a small backpack and left by way of a back door. She walked briskly between the two fence rows that separated the yards of two houses that were situated behind her own. It was a shortcut to the park. She made quick work of climbing the low place in the fence where she would often climb across to give her access to the park trails. After walking through and wading through a wall of berry bushes, she soon was on the edge of a forest. Bits of sand and bits of tree branches were scattered with the small mounds of tree root. She scanned the green foliage for fairies, both real and imagined. Green with bright spots, the sun was trying to enter the trail between the leaves and the sandy floor. It made her wonder, maybe I'm the fairy. She could hear people, picnickers and foragers were all around her. A bed of purple flowers peeped out of a lush green foliage on either side of the entrance of an unofficial trail that she liked to use to give her private access to a place near a small creek that eventually fed into the river. She loved the first glimpse of the creek, shiny beyond the wall of green trees where lily pads floated on top. As a child, this had been her favorite place to gather samples for her school's citizen scientist program. Janet sat on a rotten log, enjoying the shade. She watched water trickle through a leaky dam that was made of dead trees that had fallen across the creek. Close to the banks, some gnarled branches draped across other broken trees to form a shelter of sorts with a badly thatched roof. Large crows flew overhead, and she wondered if any of them were the same that were making such a loud fuss when she tried to use her camera to see them better, as they were making a nest on her last visit. She wondered if they were afraid that she might want to film them. Then her vision dropped to a loose-fitting log that was at the base of a natural dam. Why did water falling over a log sound and look so soothing? She grew comfortable as she took in the wonders around her. People, noises faded away, water and bird calls filled the void. After she was sitting there for several minutes, she became aware of a low humming sound. She sat up and looked around, trying to locate the source of the sound. Then, right in front of her, near some brush, she spotted it, a fairy, right there in front of her, bold as could be. She reached for a handful of stones from the ground and beside her and stood up. She shouted angrily and began heaving the rocks in the direction of the fairy that quickly began evasive maneuvers and flew away. "God damn you, dirty voyeur," she shouted as it departed. These devices had become a scourge. At first, they were a toy that was sold to children that could navigate the cute little fairy-shaped drones while viewing life from their little cameras. But then adults became obsessed with the long-range, quiet little flying toys. When it was reported that they were being used to spy on exes, stake out crime scenes, and had become the beloved pets of voyeurs, they were finally outlawed, but not before millions had already been sold. And that's that other.
Yay!
Thank you.
Give it up for Miss Jennie one more time, please. That was so awesome as a possum out there. So, do you know why the car mechanic only was allowed to do 7 cars at his workshop? Because he could not fixate.
Fixate.
The only thing I fixate on is soap. I'm kidding. And then I got myself clean. That's even worse than the hokey pokey that you have to turn yourself around.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Who is our next guest?
Andy Myers.
Would you please welcome Mr. Andy Myers up to the stage, ladies and gentlemen?
Yay!
I don't know. I named this preset movie shit because every time I play this, it sounds like a movie. So I guess imagine like, you know, movie shit.
That was pretty. Yeah.
Alright, if I was putting anybody to sleep, that was a desired effect. Wanted to kind of get you a little dreamy. Just a little bit. And then after all of that, I mean, of course, I'm gonna play something a little stringy, but it's nowhere near as kind of like swimmy and airy, and it's actually kind of has a little bit of a, makes you go, what the hell is that? It has like a whininess to it, is what I mean. But this is actually snuff. actually for the Seaboard show. Now I'm actually going to play with a buddy of mine because he can't make it today. He's the man playing the guitar on the track that you're hearing me play on top of.
A virtual
He is my
performance.
friend Mark Calhoun. So
Yeah, he's
you
played
hear
here
him
before.
Actually, let's start that over. The right way. Wait, so you can hear him.
so cool.
That is it?
It is amazing.
What made you request? Did you do Van Halen on that thing?
I don't even know.
Does it
Probably
translate?
something close. I mean,
Is it easy to go from a real guitar to a virtual one like that?
I don't even play guitar that way.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, it's not even similar? I mean, it looked to me like you were moving your
Don't
fingers.
even play guitar that
Huh,
well.
is that right?
This is me being able to play the voice I hear in my head. That's
Cool.
all this is,
It's
a vehicle for
amazing.
that.
Kind of like an instrument from the near future.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the name of the
Yeah,
app?
Might
everybody
show up
says
there.
screw those phones and this new technology, and I'm here to beg to differ.
And it saves your fingers from doing those chords.
Actually, I work at an old folks' home, and when I played the Seaboard for them, there are various old people who, I mean, they're 70 to 90.
Uh-huh.
They have arthritis. They feel like they can't play, but I show them this, and you can play. I've
Yeah.
heard people who didn't play for
Huh.
20 years.
Oh, that is
On my
wonderful.
Seaboard.
Oh, that's wonderful because I'm sure that makes people. That's a way to entertain themselves.
So, again, I'm here to beg to differ.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, I
But
gotta
the
undo
board
all
sounds-
these chords.
It sounds to me like a. Oh, are you done?
Yep.
Oh, thanks. It's great. Thanks,
If anybody else wants to come up and paint, you're more welcome to.
yeah.
To add on to the little thing there. Speaking of keyboards, there was 2 keyboards that were walking home from a gig, and they get to their front door, and one turns around to the other and says, "Boy, doesn't that beat all?" He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "We have 88 keys and none of them can open the door." On that note.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Matt D.
Would you please welcome a poet that he didn't even know it, Mr. Matt D.
Yay, Matt!
Well, I'm tired. Not enough caffeine in this world. Alright, I'm just gonna throw some words at the wall and see what sticks tonight. Not gonna be quite as high energy as I usually am. Okay. If you're looking for the weight of a soul, you'll find it in the volume of fire. Listen for it in the density of wind. Try to measure the transparency of earth, and you'll find it in the mass of a drop of water. A growing seed can explain it further. It's in the final punch thrown in a losing battle. It's in the last charge of a doomed herd of cattle. It's in the acceptance of misery for the sake of one's child, choosing to move forward without counting your burdens. It's in the sweat you let pour as you turn anxiety to muscle, living out the happiness of an everyday hustle. Cowardly fuel makes everything smaller, but the weight keeps your strength when you have to wear a collar. The weight of a soul resides in a straight back, and a smile that's cracked but not held back. If a soul is something you can lose, it creeps away from your life like an ever-pursuant fuse. It's in the mirror reflecting back at you, freshly accused of a broken state of affairs, being a professional victim and lord of the excuse, dragging along your own soul because you neglected your own point of view. But remember, it's that weight that gives you power from whatever you choose to make true. May I speak to the men of the tribe, please? I'd like to ask, what's the feeling you get when anyone doubts you? Have you ever found yourself hating what you know to be true? I ask what the world's got that can't be fixed with a brew. Come, let us speak about our current worldview. Does what we know now resemble what we once knew? It appears we live in the age of the powerless, years of resignation, marching to the heartbeat of a nation lacking explanation. Egocentric, yet somehow fearful of power, yet simultaneously afraid of weakness. Unsure what to believe in when you doubt who the believer is. Strength leads to living. Even the monkeys know that. And who wants to be a little dog? If it's under 20 pounds, it's a cat. We know confidence is a soul, and religion took credit for that. So sure of a purpose, the questions without answers just roll off your back. Shame is an enemy. When the world attacks, tell it to fuck off. Are you ever going to admit what you lack? On another cycle of life, you share your heart with another, the need for a partner, the love of a mother. But when this proves challenging, you'll do anything to shudder. I feel like men are being strangled by what we don't want to talk about. Perspectives poisoned by bad habits and ghosts. Wrecking potential by hating ourselves the most. Letting the hate leak into a sea with no coast. Every prick seems to bleed like a knife wound. Singing songs of insecurity. But it's finally time to let myself be.
Father, forgive me, but I hate your fucking guts. Reliving an authority of careless, fearful mutts. My genes are in the shape of your mistakes, and we wonder why the world sucks. Thinking the whole world is against us, sitting alone in divided towers, often fearing love more than death in the age of the aggressive coward. Though the past may not be this generation's burden to blame, I do know that we'd be better off dead than repeating the same. Do one more. This one's still kind of fresh. This may square wheel a little bit, but I'm getting all heavy and shit. But these need practice, and thank you, this crowd. In the words behind words, you will find a malevolent matrix of mankind's making. It is malicious and magnificent, maintained masterfully by malignant men, putting on us, the multitudes, the must for mastering the maturity of our messages, measuring our own materials, and magnifying our own meaning. But why? To what end? If you consider humanity as a whole, we're not so much a melting pot, but more of a schizophrenic soul, clinging desperately to what our genetics remember as survival. But freedom, as we seem to forget it, is in that moment of unpredictability, living between the seconds with the utmost sincerity. Imagination chaos under the covers. Notice a pattern of fathers and brothers. Men repeating problems, incomplete without their mothers. Holding up dignity and animal density, leaving most decisions in the grip of necessity. Smearing ego on the horizon as if it were our painting. Actions as a mural, leaving us all feeling a lot less feral. Since we learned about counting and adding up the days, ever since it was conceived that a noun can be a slave, which explains why a book can have its own self-hating page. Humanity, ever-changing but not. And if you don't believe in a soul, the body is all you got. Our evolution was violent, but our blood hasn't forgot. As wolves nurture cubs with survival intent, Gaia gave us love. That we found, and we found family in that. The pain she gave us, we turned into God. Fuck 'em. It needs a better ending. I'm done. I'm gonna go find some whiskey and go to bed. Thank you all, and thank everyone sitting in a seat here. Thank you all for showing up. You know, this is my favorite spot. I don't care how many people show up. This is the best place to be the third Wednesday in Flint.
Yep, great. Yay.
That was Matt D, everybody. And now, who? Oh, I was supposed to say a thing. What was it again? A movie thing?
Yeah, we're having a movie night on June 28th.
A movie night on June 28th.
Free movie. We're
Free
at
movie.
University Park.
At University Park.
We're gonna play Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Plus 3 local movies.
And 3 local movies from 3 local
filmmakers.
Filmmakers.
Yep. And that's supposed to be at University Park on June 28th.
On June 28th.
It'll start around 9 o'clock because that's when the sun.
Now, does it cost anything to
No,
get in?
it's free.
Oh, it's free. Okay.
Just bring a chair. Bring a chair or sit on the ground or whatever you want to do. That's what you have to do.
I'll make sure to bring some off.
Yeah, you might want that.
Or maybe on. I'm not for sure. Anyway, who is our next guest?
Justin Scanlon.
Would you please welcome Mr. Justin Scanlon to the stage, everybody?
Hey, Justin. Hey, oh, you gonna sign up? One thing.
I think Revenge of the Creature was done by Count Scary in Detroit.
Let's face it. A musical career simply can't pay the rent regularly unless you're one of the micro percentage of successful and or signed artists. I was none of the above, so Norm got me into more than a few side jobs of a not-so-musical character. These are what really saw to aforementioned rent. See, his bar was conveniently located near the East River in Greenpoint, and there was plenty of privacy at River's Edge for a delightful menu of freelance transactions. Aside from contraband transfers and money drops, on one fateful day, Nick also needed help disposing of a dead body that had been deposited in his basement by someone in the mob that he owed a couple of gigantic favors to. This got messy. One has no idea how difficult it is to get rid of a body until you have some ripe, starting to stink to the point of nauseating stench, 14-hour vintage corpse lying directly under your nose. Norm had been on a panic on the first one when he got me over to the bar. Jesus, Weasel, I can't just throw him in my trunk and drop him over the docks. The cops have been all over the riverfront ever since they found that dead crack whore in the back seat of the blue Chevy wreck over by Kent Street. Well, why not? Or we could jimmy open the trunk of one of the cruisers and just drop it in there while the officers are catching up on their sleep. Christ's sake, the cops on that duty are happier than pigs and shit anyway. They wouldn't even be coming around here at all if the papers hadn't spilled a lake's worth of ink on the dead. Weasel, shut the fuck up. It ain't like they're working. This area's virtually no crime except the real underground stuff, which is always kept under the petty crime under control in the first place. And that can be staged plenty of other places. Nothing on that duty but happy poo time and payoffs up the kazoo. This is murder, you idiot. We could be packing ass for 20 years on this shit. Shut the fuck up. What are they getting for looking the other way on the after-hours action alone? And what do you mean by we, Lone Ranger?
That was great. That was great.
I can resist. Hey, let's get down to the serious business of trying to make that pedestrian music.
You know that bar is going through your head as you're singing?
Oh, better that than a bullet.
Well, I just thought if you wanted to move it a little bit, the picture would look better, the video would, for you later.
Is that better?
Yeah, if you pull it down, because then at least you just don't want it going through your hands.
We can do that.
Okay, there we go. That's good.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
Actually, I think for that piece, actually the bar like a bullet going through my head might actually... We're just going to call that a conscious prop and move onward. Just when it seems like life is unsatisfactory, just when it seems like you're working in a factory, the glowing curves unfold before my eyes. I'm trapped before I even realize that people of smoke, women of dreams caress us. People of smoke, women of dreams caress us. My desires draw us to the hoax, too preoccupied to see the joke, that you are only figures on the screen, and lonely people do not care what it means. The people of smoke, women of dreams caress us. People of smoke, women of dreams caress us. And the promises growl through loudspeakers and the beckoning hands to draw us nearer. The beautiful women, 13 years old, looking so flawless, looking so cold. Beautiful smoke. surgeon's grace? Did you pay with your soul and enter la machine to transform into a maze of circuitry? And people of smoke, women of dreams caress us. And people of smoke, women of dreams caress us. And the promises grovel through the speakers, and the beckoning hands draw us nearer. The beautiful women, 30 years old, looking so flawless, looking so cold. And the promises grovel through the speakers and the beckoning hands to draw us nearer. The beautiful women, 80 years old, looking so flawless, looking so cold. Beautiful smoke. Talk about the big lies and the plastic smiles, but in the back rooms of their brains they want it all a little while, reaching for the finest things, but the emotions are brand X, like a carnival of broken dreams and silver-bladed sex. You can blame it on the big TV, yeah, blame it on society, yeah, but then I look at you and me, watching it all so vacantly, just dreaming those dreams. Check out the preacher with his hand out for the checks from the chosen few. Kiss the Bible beggar back with most the holy of the IOUs. And the perfume of his mom smells to me like ode to blood. And a mystic with no job sees his visions in the mud. And you can blame it on the big TV, yeah, blame it on society, but then I look at you and me, watching it all so vacantly, just dreaming those dreams. We started the drug game, even drugging the babies at birth. Now bright lights and surgical steel become the new wet nurse. Yeah, we advertise progress in the battle between pleasure and pain. Replace it with illusions, never have to feel again. And you can blame it on the big TV, yeah, I'll blame it on society, but then I look at you and me, watching it all so vacantly, just dreaming those dreams. You can blame it on the big TV, yeah, don't blame it on society, but then I look at you and me, watching it all so vacantly, just dreaming, dreaming those dreams, just dreaming, dreaming those.
Right. Hey, Justin. Woo-hoo. Give it up for him one more time.
Thank you. Welcome.
You're very welcome. Good guitar with the book. Anyway, our next guest, would you please welcome to the stage Mr. Donta Gaddy Jr.
Did you like to sit down, don't you? Because there's a chair right there. Isn't that what you like to do? Because there's a stool and there's a chair, but it seems like I remember you like the chair better.
Like the next Jimi Hendrix or something.
Exposure therapy. Yeah.
Who knows?
We're all judging you.
Alright, geez. I really didn't like. I didn't prepare. It's so weird. How's everyone doing today, though?
Good.
Halfway
That's
decent.
good. Yeah, that's,
Dry in here.
it's a little hot up here.
Yeah, it is. Especially with the lights on you.
Oh yeah.
Surprising how much
and
of a
all
difference there
eyes.
is.
It's like
Yeah. Double whammy.
pressure.
You with
All right.
friends.
I'm gonna try this song, even though I don't have I'm not Mariah Carey, so I don't have the pipes, I guess. But I'm gonna try it. I kind of tune my guitar I have down a little bit because I don't really know how to sing high notes yet. I mean, it's gonna come though, I think. Right it's so weird because I'm only not 18. Well, I just turned 18. I just graduated high school, but it was kind of
Yeah.
Hopefully, by this fall, I'll be attending college for psychology and minor in music.
Wow.
It's kind of hard. I mean, being me, who I am. I say my culture. You know, everything's about hip hop and all that. You know, nothing's wrong with hip hop, but I kind of grew up, listening to like. Well, not on my own. I had to discover like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Neil Young and James Taylor and Aerosmith and all that. I just love all music. And I just want to open new doors for this generation because everything's like little this and little that. But it's nothing wrong with it. But I just want to open up ears to like the young people. I mean, I'm saying like I'm 50 or something like that, but. So, this is, I'm actually, starting to record, in like an EP, like small, like type thing, tomorrow, tomorrow, but, this is a song, it's called, it's about a friend I had, and, her name was Jennie. Well, her name wasn't Jennie, but I didn't want to, like, spill the beans on her name. But she already knew who it was, but I kind of lost her. It's kind of like weird high school stuff, so this is it, I guess. This is my finale. All right. Said, cool guy, but a freaking loser in my head. I lost a friend. We used to talk a lot, but now we only talk a little. And my eyes are getting soggy like a McDonald's McGriddle. Yes, they are. All because I lost a friend. I know that you are still going through. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, just say the word and I'm right there for you. You got a friend. Times I thought you wanted me, but you really didn't need me, oh no. Now I know I lost a friend. And you know that we are only getting older, and the world is only gonna get colder. If you ever wanna cry on my shoulder, you got a friend. Thank you, Los Angeles.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Well, this is nice. What is that, Jimi Hendrix?
I admire the scenery.
Janis Joplin? The Beatles?
You gonna
That
do a
collage looks
set?
like it's from the 1960s.
1970s.
What's the difference?
That was really good.
That was
The drugs.
that was
Go ahead, Mark.
Donta.
that was really good. Give him a hand. Well, I figured that since we're killing time a little bit, I figured that I'd do a little bit of my little stand-up or sit-down comedy if that was okay.
Cool, cool.
So, how's everybody doing up there?
Good.
I'm not dead yet.
Well, that's good to know.
I wish I was.
There's these two gentlemen are talking. One says to the other, "Boy, I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. Boy, am I sick of it." He says, "What are you sick of?" He says, Well, I'm home." And he says, "Are you home now?" He says, "Yeah, but I'm sick of it."
What's that?
So, speaking of, did you hear about the ghost that went to the bar? He wanted booze. That was very good. The only booze I want is on the stage. So, anyway, there's these two people are talking. One says to the other, "Hey, I just got back from watching a jazz concert." And he says, "Oh, what did you see?" He said, "Boy, I just saw a trombone player." He says, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, let it slide." Hey, do you know what a tuba player uses if he has a broken tuba? He uses a tuba glue.
Oh, my cool.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more and then I'm gonna get out of here. So, you know, I had a joke about pencils, but there was no point to it.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you hear about the fight between Coke and Pepsi? I heard one of them say, "I'm gonna pop you one." Yeah. The other one says, "I'm gonna give you the real thing."
What did RC say?
What's that?
What did RC say?
Oh, I don't know. What did RC say?
I'm going to crown you.
Royal crown.
Royal crown. Nice. So, I'll try the dog joke again. Just
Okay.
bear with me.
Okay.
I'll put you upside down.
So, there's these two dogs talking. One says to the other, "Man, I've been having lots of trouble." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, my girlfriend left me, my owner went on vacation, and I'm just losing my mind. What do I do?" He says, "Well, didn't you talk to the psychiatrist?" And he says, "Yeah, but I'm not allowed on the couch." My dry sense of humor. Anyway, that's all for me. Do we have any more guests?
Nope, not unless there's somebody that hasn't signed up.
Is there anybody else that wants to come up here that hasn't yet? Or okay, so I guess that's my good night cue. So I wish everybody a good night. I hope that you had a good time here with me and putting up with me saying the people's names wrong
I
sometimes.
know
But
you didn't. You did good.
I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to give thanks to Miss Jennie up there on the camera. I would like to give Mr. Ken up on the stage a shout out for a. Hang on a minute. Yeah.
Read that one. Read that.
Oh. Before I go, my girlfriend sent me this. Told me this one. What do you call a Winnebago with a lot of art on it? A Van Gogh.
Yay!
Good night.